I'm Liz Faublas, and this is Currents. The patron saint of our universal church, St. Joseph, will attend the celebration of his feast day, Sicilian style. Our first saint, Mother Cabrini, is honored in a giant way, and Bishop DiMarzio reveals a secret. And the saint who saved the children, a pageant to celebrate, is held in Williamsburg. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this special Columbus Day edition of Currents. The contributions Italian Americans have made to our diocese, our city, and our nation are celebrated on Columbus Day. We'd like to spend a little time this evening sharing with you some of our more memorable reports where we had some fun or learned something new and, of course, honored some saints who have contributed so much to the Italian story. First up, the patron saint of our universal church, St. Joseph. On his feast day this year, we travel to Ridgewood, Queens for a Sicilian-style celebration, starting with prayer.
Intercede per noi San Giuseppe, uomo di fede e maestro di vita, insieme alla tua sposa, la Vergine Maria. Amen. Che viva San Giuseppe!
We are celebrating the Feast of St. Joseph involving the Italian communities from this part of Queens. There are many different Italian clubs or societies that are dedicated to various saints, but St. Joseph is the patron of the Universal Church.
Most of the people here are nearly all Italian, and particularly they would be Sicilian. This is a very localized celebration in the sense that the tradition that we're observing is a Sicilian tradition with the foods and the band and all that. Allora, nella tradizione siciliana, lo sposo di Maria, il padre putativo di Gesù, San Giuseppe, è onorato come protettore dei poveri, il padre dell'ospitalità. St. Joseph is the patron saint of hospitality in the Sicilian tradition, and that's what I'm most familiar with, because for years we've had a very large Sicilian congregation, and we did all these, carried on all these activities according to the usage in Sicily.
St. Joseph was the protector of Jesus and Mary and the anchor, so to speak, of the Holy Family. Italian people resonate to that. Many of them came here as immigrants, of course, and felt strange in a new land, and they came hoping that their Joseph father would guide and protect them as they got acclimated to life in a new land.
The procession is to bring the statue in the streets of Ridgewood, to let out the nationality, know our roots and our value of being Italian American. You could be also Polish and American, Irish and American, but at the same time we are celebrating this event with the rest of international community of Ridgewood.
St. Joseph is a real force in my life. I rely on him for a lot. I pray to him every day, and he's granted me wonderful graces.
It's a very, very important saint. It's everything for us.
These traditions can get lost if we fail to teach our children. In that case, then they will get lost.
We've been doing this for almost 40 years now, but as you can see, there aren't that many young people here. But the tradition is still alive. Keeping the tradition alive is important in terms of their affiliation with the church. So I'm glad that we're able to share with them in this particular celebration here at Miraculous Meta.
Up next, an eternal truth shared by the Italians and the Irish, and Bishop DiMarzio reveals a secret. Welcome back. The Italians and Irish coming to America over so many years to build the future brought with them differences, but as we learn now, they came together to share an eternal truth.
Two different histories, two different cultures, two different sets of values, two different sets of destiny.
Tonight at Theology on Tap in Brooklyn Heights, we have Dr. Frank Sorrentino, who's a professor of political science at St. Francis College, and he's going to speak to us tonight about the Irish and Italian immigrants and the building of Catholicism here in America.
Tonight, we're going to try to look at how Italians and the Irish understood Catholicism. And my argument is that this understanding of Catholicism is based in history. While there are eternal truths, there are a lot of different ways in which that religion is manifested and understood by the populace. So in Ireland, where Catholicism and the Irish people were under assault, the church played a very protective role. What we had in Italy was the oppression that existed mostly in southern Italy was by other Italians and by Catholics. So the distinction between the Protestant and the Catholic dichotomy did not exist in southern Italy. So when they came with different associations about Catholicism and what the church's role in their community and in their lives. When Catholicism becomes the official religion of the Roman Empire by Constantine, what happens is the church uses the pre-existing culture to introduce Catholicism to its people. So when the Irish priests see Italians worshiping the saints, worshiping the Blessed Mother, they are aghast. In Ireland, that was viewed as idolatry. It was viewed as paganism. And when the Italians and the Irish were meeting, they saw each other through very different prisms. They saw each other through a different value system. And as a consequence, neither believed the other was Catholic. Neither believed that the other was concerned about their spiritual well-being, which is the ultimate goal of Christianity and Catholicism. What we consider Italian, what we consider Irish, is becoming less meaningful. The attachment to those symbols, to those rituals, to those individuals is becoming more alien.
It's always interesting to see the history on how different ethnic groups like the Italians and the Irish coexisted, how they developed and how they interacted with each other over the years.
At this point, we all go to church. You know, those of us who go to Mass on Sunday, they go to Mass on Sunday. We go to the ceremonies during the holidays. We celebrate accordingly. I think probably the biggest difference is the food.
The notion of Catholicism is no longer solely a cultural and historical artifact that belongs to a particular ethnic group, but now is allowed to exist for the eternal truths that it professes. Thank you very much.
And there is one saint, our first American saint, recognized as the patroness of immigrants. And as we see in this report, Mother Cabrini has been honored in a giant way. And we also learn a secret about our Bishop of Brooklyn.
I have a confession to make. I've fallen in love with a woman, and her name is Frances Cabrini. Mother Cabrini is most famous because she's the first American citizen, a naturalized citizen, to become a saint.
Maria Francesca Cabrini. She was born in a little town called Sant'Angelo Lodigiano, right outside of Milan, Italy.
As a young girl, she wanted to be a missionary. She wanted to go to China. But when she went to the Pope told her, no, not to the east, but go to the west, because there were many calls then from the United States for missionaries to take care of the many Italian immigrants that were coming.
She landed here in Brooklyn. She first landed in Manhattan and then came over to Brooklyn and was welcomed by Bishop McDonald, the second bishop of Brooklyn, and she was given money by Bishop McDonald to start a school. So she lived here, she walked these streets, she ministered to the people, and most importantly, to the Italian immigrants.
Part of the melting pot process is to convince new immigrants coming in like we Italians who came in here around the turn of the century to stop being Italian American and become American.
Her life was one that was lived for God and others. She took care of the immigrants of her day who were greatly discriminated against. But today we need her intercession because we have immigrants today who also are not receiving the correct treatment they should have in our beloved country.
3, 2, 1.
She's really a great example for all of us. Italian immigrant who came to this country and inspired by her Catholic faith and her immigrant Italian experience, worked hard to set up schools to create programs that served immigrants, that helped people learn English, connect to this country, and have rich lives of opportunity. I thought that's the story that we need to be telling now. And we need to remember that the immigrant experience is what makes New York City what it is. We want to welcome immigrants. We want to help them become a contributing part of this city and this country. And that's what I'm so pleased this mural is going to help do.
The essay contest for Mother Cabrini, that was probably over 200 or 300 essays. It was a giant bag. And we read through every single one of them and found some key elements, and we try to represent those through images.
Immigrants, when they come to this country, they're very humble. They go to a huge country, they have to learn the language, the new ways of doing, and that's what Mother Cabrini did. It's try to educate everybody and try to take care of people that do not have anything.
Mother Cabrini is not only the patroness of immigrants, which the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens is the Diocese of Immigrants, but she's also the patroness of the new evangelization. And so she sends that message as a woman, as an immigrant, that no matter who you are or what your stature is, you're able to do great things.
All right, stay with us. This special edition of Currents will continue after the break. Food, music, and some very strong men, all in Williamsburg to carry on a tradition that is 125 years old. Next. For more than a century, Italian-American Catholics have gathered in one Brooklyn neighborhood to celebrate two saints, one who was a hero and the other on her feast day.
Here we are in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, the Italian section of Williamsburg. For over 125 years, we've celebrated the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Today is the centerpiece, really, the highlight of the entire feast is Giglio Sunday. And by that we mean that the Giglio and the boat dance through the streets, and they reenact the 5th century pageant in which St. Paulinus saved the children of his town of Nola.
We've got wonderful food, we've got wonderful people, we've got wonderful vendors. It's a great place to be on a Sunday afternoon.
When Mount Carmel Parish was founded, a large number of the part of the population that's here came from the town of Nola in Italy. And the actual Feast of the Giglio in San Paolino is celebrated there in Nola. So they brought their tradition from Nola with them to Brooklyn.
We bring Christian values into the street. With the Giglio, represents a lily, represents love, the love that we have for our saints and our parish, of course, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, #1.
This is my family's hometown in Brooklyn. This is the old neighborhood, old Italian neighborhood that my family comes from. And so I come and pay respects.
You have hundreds of people who come back every year. Some people moved out of Brooklyn to Queens, to Long Island, even further. They come back every year. It's really a part of their blood. It's a part of their family tradition. Their parents, their grandparents did it, their great-grandparents.
I've been here for the last 35 years. I do this. My whole family's done this. I couldn't go on without this.
Back at the turn of the century, in the late 1800s, the late 19th century, approximately 5 million Southern Italians from all over southern Italy, Sicily, Nola, Naples, came over to Brooklyn. And many of them kept their ties with the old world. Many of them still, to this day, have family that they keep in touch with in Nola.
On each structure, there are 98 lifters. Each corner has their own lieutenant that controls their corner. There are 2 structures, the Giglio and the boat. So there are 4 lieutenants on each structure, 8 altogether.
It's a great, exciting time because everybody has such enthusiasm. Everybody really just has a sense of love for the parish, love for the feast, and really that translates as a love for our faith.
I come here every year. I'm lifting next Friday for the Children's Giglio, and I love here at Mount Carmel in Brooklyn.
It's also wonderful when we have the processions that go into the neighborhood because it's really a matter of bringing the faith to the people who sometimes on their own can't come to the church.
And we continue our Columbus Day celebration on Currents after the break. A saint beloved by Italians and all of us around the world, Padre Pio, the Saint of Hope, next. Welcome back. Padre Pio is a saint beloved around the world with a special place in the hearts of Italians. One of the remarkable aspects of St. Pio's life was the stigmata, Christ's crucifixion wounds on Pio's body. Through his suffering, he is a saint for our times, a saint of hope, no matter what.
Pio did not give up. This man was in pain all day, all night. What did I say last month? Up until 3 days before the day he died, he had the stigmata. Tonight, we celebrate a special Mass in honor of St. Pio. So many people, they come, they have a devotion to Padre Pio, it's very big. And they come because they're just full of sorrow, the weight of suffering, illness. And they just come and it's an opportunity for them to pray, but to just share some of that with fellow parishioners and Christians, but also to share it with Padre Pio. This glove represents the suffering that he endured. And as painful as that was to him, it is a relief to us. Because this glove gives us the hope of a saint. At the Mass, we have present one of the gloves that Padre Pio wore. Padre Pio had the stigmata, which are the 5 wounds of Christ. 1 wound on the side, 2 in the palm of the hand, and 2 on the feet. And so for Padre Pio, he would put a glove over the bandages that was on his hand. And he would have to change these, of course, frequently. And so there are many gloves that are all over the world that are now, because his blood is on it, first-class relics.
I met Lou at St. Anselm's. His mother brought this glove from Italy, and she wanted many people as can, to venerate it.
He allows the glove to go around, but most importantly, gives it to St. Finbar once a month so that we could hold this Mass, so that people can actually come to touch a relic of Padre Pio. We do not pray to the saint per se. We ask the saint to intercede for us to God. They are just the portal to God. St. Pio is a powerful saint, no doubt about it. You know, all saints are. But in this particular area of Brooklyn, there are a lot of older parishioners who actually came from the area that Padre Pio was living. And so there is a personal connection to someone who died recently. You know, we're not talking about a 15th century saint. We're talking about someone who lived in our time. So it not only gives us hope that there is the communion of saints, but that people that we know have actually achieved this. It gives us encouragement that we too must participate in this call to holiness.
I believe that I will be helped by Padre Pio. He's an amazing saint who's performed so many miracles.
I have cancer. Padre Pio would heal me.
Just the presence of the glove being here is a miracle in of itself. To have the opportunity to pray and touch the glove and be with people whose faith is so strong, and to be together, I feel like our faith grows stronger.
The goal for these Masses has always been to provide a place for people who are truly hurting to come. And it's just a little morale booster for them, so that they walk out of here knowing that whatever's going on, whatever trouble is on their shoulders, they're not going to sink, because not only is God holding them up, not only is Padre Pio pulling for them, but their brothers and sisters are also willing to catch them so that they don't fall. You know, and we walk out of this church at the end of the night with a spirit of hope and prayer.
Well, it comes as no surprise that every year Catholics in Astoria, Queens devote 5 days to honoring and celebrating St. Pio with a carnival. This year, we were there.
we're having our 8th annual parish carnival in honor of St. Pio. It's the 8th year that we're having this celebration of this great saint of the Catholic Church. And actually this series of 5 days, it's a 5-day parish carnival that we have every September in honor of St. Pio. St. Pio, he's very, very popular with the Italians in our parish and all over, but he's really a saint of the Catholic Church, universal, and I think he was a man of great faith, great prayer, simplicity, and I think he has a lot to offer all Catholics.
Padre Pio means hope for so many people, and us especially. We hope to celebrate a whole community. We are all the same, but we fear one another, and that's a problem.
So tonight is our International Food Festival. Every year we try to showcase the diversity of the parish, and we invite parishioners of all cultures to come and share with us a dish from their native country.
The food is prepared and donated by the parishioners from various backgrounds. People all come together, sit down, mingle, and it also serves as a fundraiser for the church.
Food is what represents the people, who they are, what they are, how they live. And I think it's a great way that we have a great diversity in this parish. And everybody seems to get along beautifully.
I try food from Peru, Scotland, Paraguay, Mexico, Puerto Rico. Everything is delicious.
Eating is making a family and making people join together. And when you share food, you share each other's backgrounds.
I feel that it's important for my children to try to be exposed to other cultures, to experience diversity in food, not just food, but everything really.
Behind all of this, is the touch of evangelization to people. Getting people into the buildings, seeing what's here, into the churches. And if we follow the advice of St. Pio, pray, pray, pray. Everyone who is here adds to the richness of our lives, right? It's really giving recognition of our shared life and journey together.
Astoria, we're blessed to be a very, very diverse neighborhood, and we really want to showcase to Astoria, Long Island City, that we're a parish for all, that we don't ask for your baptism card when you walk through the gates. We really want to showcase our parish, our people, but we're welcoming to everyone.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure to be here on Tuesday night for all the highlights of Brooklyn's Columbus Day Parade. Until then, visit us online at currentsny.net. Tonight we leave you with more of the happy moments that mark this day. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Faublas. Thank you for watching and have a good night.